Hi everyone, it's Lauren Maxwell here from Headstrong Women. I'm sitting in the beautiful Tallulah Bar at the Junction, Newcastle with the fantastic Leah Gilbert.
Hello.
Hi Leah, how are you going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. Okay, so I'm having a coffee with Leah and I'm going to be asking her some really tricky questions today. So you're an internationally recognised thought leader in body positivity and athleticism. Can you share a little bit about your journey and how you've incorporated your passion into a really successful career?
It's been, I've stumbled into a lot of it. Sorry, it's not a plan, everybody, but it should be. I stumbled into it basically by just doing what I was doing as an athlete. I initially had, and I still do, I have a very strong belief that in activewear and swimwear and a lot of retailing is that people need to see relatable images, and I have a firm belief that if particularly an activewear range or a swimwear range, if they're going to stock sizes 14 up, then they really need to feature people of that size in the products.
Yeah, definitely.
One, for their own sales perspective, because how many times do you go into Rebel Sport and it's all 16s and you think,
Yep.
cool. But it must be the most heavily reduced size that they would have.
Yeah.
But I just believe it's because they don't advertise it. And I think if people can actually see the item on a person of their size, of their shape, they can go, that's it. She's exactly the same shape as me. She's exactly the same size.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it started out of a twofold belief. It started out of a belief in the retail sense with how brands should advertise their products.
Yeah.
And then it also started out of a belief that with our current health statistics and the so-called obesity crisis and everything, that we would actually have better impact by inspiring people to move, by giving them relatable role models, rather than shaming them or programs being written by people who can't relate. So that was, it's basically I put myself out there so that if someone's ever wanted to try, a triathlon or a running race, then they can see that there really are like hundreds of people there that look like them, and that are like them. And once you get over that barrier of realising that you're not going to be the only one looking like that or of that ability level there, then you're more willing to have a go at it. And basically, so I just try to use my profile to break down the barriers and say, hey, come and try it. They're the most supportive communities you can find, and there's a heap of people like me there. And also to say to sporting brands, hey, listen, let's put normal people doing normal stuff in your gear. Show us how it functions. Don't show us people just standing there looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always been a really intriguing thing for me, because from a marketing perspective, I would have assumed that businesses who are selling clothing would want walking advertisements on every corner.
Yeah, exactly.
So it seems like a silly marketing move to be excluding, realistically, one of the biggest markets out there.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also, don't patronise us by just showing us a plus size model standing in the clothing. Show us a plus size athlete. Like if you're going to stock a tri-suit, then show us a plus size triathlete in it.
Yeah.
Don't show us a model just standing there looking nothing. You know, like actually show us how the garment functions, because that's what we want to know.
Yeah.
We want to know how it's going to support our bust. We want to know whether it's going to ride up. We want to know these things about a garment, so show us how it functions.
Yeah.
So basically what happened was I did a photo shoot, my glamour shoot to celebrate my first half marathon.
Oh, fantastic.
And a significant weight loss I did with a friend who's a photographer, and the photos were amazing, but I was in my 2 times U tri-suit, and they actually featured one of the images on their website one day, on their Instagram. So straight away I phoned up and whoever did it, and took that opportunity to speak to them and say, hey, listen, there's a real opportunity here to associate ourselves in the sense that help me help you. show how your outfits that do cater to their sizing fit and look. So, and I think on that Instagram post within an hour, a lady had been down to her local Rebel Sport to find a tri-suit because she now knew that they would fit her.
Wow.
So the theory had been proven in the fact that one single image had manifested into a consumer travelling to a store to find that product because they now had confidence in it. So it was win-win. And so it went from there, and I got featured from there, and it's just snowballed basically. So I've just been enjoying the ride and started to become really passionate about things that I've always believed in, but it's been in line with a lot of what people are starting to awaken to.
Yeah, look, that's fantastic. And you're right, too, I think you touched on something earlier about having, rather than have the token inspirational, having everyday people that we can aspire to as well, and you're definitely that person.
And I think it's, I mean, my whole philosophy in all of this is not to have people come up to me and say, I find you're my inspiration. I want people to see that within themselves. Yeah. I really want people to awaken to their own personal power and know that they are the ones who inspire themselves. Yeah. As I say, don't, it's okay to come to me and say these things. Yeah. But I'm not in it to be that person that says, because of you I didn't give up. Because don't give up because of yourself. You're just you're showing that it can be done. And I'm real and I'm out here doing it. You can do that too. And embrace it and realise the power of what it is that you're doing for somebody else. Because somebody else is seeing you do what you're doing without a fear of being judged, and through your fearlessness you're inspiring someone else. So it's what I call the power of doing. Like people getting out there and doing and embracing themselves and their own athleticism and really owning it and being proud of it. There's always someone watching who needs to see that. And
fantastic.
It doesn't have to, it's not just coming from me, it's coming from every person who's out there doing it.
Fantastic. The power of doing.
That's it.
Love it. You also touched a little bit on body shaming, which is really rife throughout Western culture and infiltrates pretty much every aspect of our lives, and this is from a really early age. So what are some of the ways that we as adult women can help to turn that around?
We just have to stop standing and pinching our bottom and pinching our tummy fat, and people are, particularly our children are watching. People are watching and people are listening to how we talk about ourselves. It really starts at the most basic level with our relationship with ourselves. If we can have a peaceful relationship with our own bodies and just go, you know what, it's not an outfit. You don't just go and exchange it for a new one because it doesn't fit properly. These are the bodies that we've been given for this lifetime. So why not have a positive relationship with them and start, rather than resenting them, go and the more people that get out there and be fearless and just embrace their bodies and do whatever the hell it is that they want to do, the more it's going to become normal. The more people that are at the beach in swimsuits with no big t-shirts on, and the less it becomes an abnormal thing that gets celebrated, and the more normal it becomes because you're at the beach swimming. So the more we do it, the more we see it, the more we embrace it. Just start and walk the walk and talk the talk. Just live. It's as basic as that. Like I was at the beach yesterday, and you know how much insecurity there is that so many people have around the beach, and a lot of them don't even go to the beach because they're worried. And this is not to sound patronising, and then I looked up and there was a person sitting in a wheelchair up near the cafe just looking out at the ocean. And I felt so sad because there's no wheelchair access to the ocean on that beach.
No, there's not.
And there's granted to be someone down there worried about how their swimsuit's sitting, or whether someone's watching them, or have I got a wedgie, someone watching me, did they see my fat roll when I sat down? And here's this person who may be desperate to get out there. They may not be either. But they don't even have the physical ability to get access down there. And it's like, get real, people. this is life, you know. And the only way that we can stop it is if we stop that conversation, if we stop engaging in judgmental conversation, and we start really embracing the concept that my body's off limit to your judgment and your body's off limit to my judgment.
Yeah.
And let's just get on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you inspire and empower women everywhere to really revel in their bodies and reach their potential. So who inspires you?
I get really inspired by people who embrace their bodies for how they function for them.
Yep.
So an idol of mine is Anna Mears. She has an amazing relationship with her body and has a perfect understanding of her physical strength, and she embraces it. And if anyone doesn't know, she's our most prolific track cyclist, but she's a sprinter. So for her to be successful at what she does, it means that she has incredibly powerful legs.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's where her power base is. So she has her shape represents her sport.
Yeah.
So basically, she understands her body in the fact that she and has a great relationship with tuning it for what purpose it has for her. So she's a big one of mine. And then I also love Kurt Fernley.
Yeah.
Because there's no barriers or anything for him to what he can achieve. He just gets in there and does whatever it is that he sets his mind to.
Yeah.
And Katie Kelly is a big one for me. She's a friend of mine who I interviewed not long ago. She has Usher's syndrome. So earlier this year, over the years, her sight has deteriorated to the point that in January she was now declared as legally blind. So she's also losing her hearing. It's where you lose your hearing and your sight.
Right.
So she's always been hearing impaired since a child. And then when she was 26, discovered that she had Usher syndrome when her eyesight started to deteriorate. So now in January she was declared legally blind. In February she signed up to become a para-triathlete, and last month she actually just won the World Para-Triathlon Championships in her division. So
what a woman.
Yeah, and she just has this amazing attitude towards life, and always seems to have had it, in the sense that I'll never have this single moment again.
Yeah.
Once it's past, it's gone.
Yeah.
So why not do it? Whatever I'm doing right now, enjoy it, thrive on it.
Yeah.
And she just has the most amazing attitude towards life and towards her adventures. So for example, she loved running marathons, but because of her deteriorating eyesight, she couldn't handle the ones that had a dawn start.
Yeah.
So she either had someone run with her until daylight broke, or she just enlisted herself in the midnight sun marathon in Norway, because it was in it was in their summer, so it was full light at midnight.
Yeah.
So she sort of, you look at someone like her and you know that she's going to get to the her age.
Yeah.
Talking about all the awesome things that she's done.
Yeah.
And all the awesome things that she's seen while her eyes were still functioning for her. And I guess I really admire people that whose life gives me perspective, but they're still embracing their bodies for how they are. You know, she's not sitting back and going, well, I'm now legally blind. That's it.
Yeah.
For me in an essence, and I'm sure she's had a terrible time adjusting to that.
Oh, I can imagine.
But instead she's just gone more like, let's stuff it, let's go for it, and that's her attitude. If you talk to her, she's country as anything. She's from Casino, and she just stuff it, I'll just have a crack at it.
Yeah, and she goes for it.
Yeah, and she does. And she just has a crack at anything.
Yeah.
So they're who inspire me.
And I guess with each of those people, you're looking at people who really do just, come at it with everything, and really determined people, and I guess respectful of their bodies as well.
They are.
What's really coming through is this admiration for people and wanting people to respect themselves more.
Yeah, and it's having a respect for your body for whatever form it comes in.
Yeah.
You kind of go, okay, if this is what I've got, then this is what I'm going to do, whatever I can with it.
Yeah.
So you know, like if you feel that you can't run, but you could probably run and walk, and that's what you want to do, then
that's what you do.
Or if you don't want to, if you want to do something but you don't feel you can do the full lot of it, then do a modified version of it. Or you know, like it's about finding a way.
Yeah, absolutely. So your messages for women are really strong and powerful, just like you. If you had to use only 10 words to get your key messages across, what would they be?
I've never done anything in 10 words.
I thought I'd make it tricky for you.
Okay, so here it is. I think I even got it into like 8. Choose positivity and support over judgment and negativity.
Love it. I think that really encompasses everything that you stand for.
Because the power lies with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like 8 words. That was a fist pump if you didn't see it. Yeah, exactly right.
No, look, you did well with that. Well, you do wear many hats. So you're a professional athlete, a speaker, a writer, a mother, a partner, a daughter, friend, running coach, and you're a qualified PT, amongst many other roles. So how do you manage the juggle, and what's your advice for other women?
Prioritise what makes you happy first.
I love that.
And whatever's going to make you get to the end of the day and go, you know what, today was a good day, or today I did my best, then just do it that way. You know, everything can go on a priority list, and I basically, because I also have osteoarthritis, if I don't train, I get sore and I can't function properly. So it's in everybody's interest that I do what I have to do physically in the day. So I prioritise my training and I prioritise my children's development, and then if anything else gets done at the end of the day, then that's a bonus. So it's just about, I think I just do what I can when I can. And you know, like I don't always, I train at home a lot. The kids are used to me doing run sets up and down the side of the house, or squats out the back, and so people are kind of
How you doing, ladies?
Thank you, good. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, we're fine. Thank you. I just do what I can when I can, but they're my two priorities basically. And I'm lucky because a lot of what I do, a lot of my contact base is in the US, so I actually can get a lot of work done in those early hours of the morning when Ravi might be up at 5 or whatever, and I can actually knock over a lot of work, and then the afternoon's free. So I mean, there were times when things were getting busy and I needed to assess what my priorities were, whether it was a riding or whether it was media or you know, like a lot of commitments, and that can really tear at you to, you know, particularly when it's something that you're really passionate about, and you know, and it is in your interest to get that media coverage or to promote that message when you get the opportunity to. But I've actually pared back quite a bit, and my focus at the moment is on being grounded and getting back to my, like, making sure I'm really authentically myself, and taking the ego out of everything that I do, and so some days are just training and being a mum, and other days other things can happen, but they may not.
One of the other things I guess that keeps coming through in everything you're saying as well is that a lot of life is really about perspective. And changing that perspective sometimes with your priorities as they change.
Exactly right. And you've got to pick your victories, you know, like you've got to really pick your victories for the day, and because otherwise you can get really tied down in things that you don't get done, and things that you know, so there are some days where I get to the end of the day and I think, man, I don't even know what I've done today.
But we all do that.
Exactly right. I have no idea what I've achieved today, and I feel like I've achieved nothing. But then you look around and you've got 2 children that are happy, and they've been to the park or they've been to the beach, or you've been for a run with them in the trailer, or you know, Ravi might have done something developmentally for his first time, and then you just go, well, it's good enough.
Yeah.
That'll do me for today.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just has to do. You know, we can get caught up, as we were talking about, in the whole guilt of being a good this and a good that and a good mum and a good partner and a good wife and a good employee and a good this and just sometimes the win might be just being yourself that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick your victory.
Yeah, and if you have had a tough day, it's okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to, not all sunshine and rainbows every day, and sometimes we just have to go, you know what? We just did the best we could today. And that's it. And that's your victory in itself.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's so much pressure these days to constantly be looking for that victory in every kind of cell of us and everything that we do. So I do think prioritising and keeping that perspective is really important. That some days are better than others and that's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly right. And if you just know that you've just done your best for that day, then that's all that matters some days. You know, there's so much pressure on being enlightened and being happy and being insightful and you know, there's so, if you can take it that way, where everywhere you turn there's always someone doing something epic. And not every day is about being epic. Sometimes the days are just about surviving them and going, okay, let's wake up and have another go tomorrow. Absolutely. Have a good night's sleep, have some nice nourishing food, and let's just go to bed and let's just go, you know what, we're still okay. And that was the victory for today. You know, I think there is so much pressure that we can take, thank you, you know, on all of that. So you've just got to filter out the noise sometimes and switch everything off.
Really good advice. So I can see some similarities between career development coaching and athletic coaching. Things like goal setting, achievements and recognising achievements, personal challenges, etc. So what are your special moves, I suppose, for helping people to get the most out of themselves?
A lot of the time I'm just trying to convince them that they're worth it.
Okay.
And that they're worthy of success. Because I think in life, I think people fear success as much as they fear failure. And particularly when it comes to physical development and fitness, a lot of people within themselves know that once they become assertive and feel more confident within themselves, that a lot of things in their life will change. And it scares them. You know, there's people that know that they're tolerating toxic relationships or they're tolerating jobs that they're not happy in, and they know that they're tolerating a lot in life, and they know that once they get strong enough to want more, then they're going to make some really big life changes, and some people may not be ready for that. And sometimes I just spend a lot of time convincing people that they really are worth the hard work in the first place, and that what they want to achieve really is worth all of that work and that perseverance, and that the changes that will come are worthy of them as well. So sometimes, most of the time, it's actually not about what move you're doing or what bag you're punching or what weight you're lifting. It's actually about just trying to get that person to believe in the fact that they're worth it, and they're worth a good life, and that they're worth good health, and that it's not about aspiring to be anything other than themselves. So don't aspire to be thin, and don't aspire to be toned, or don't aspire to be anything other than the best version of what you want your life to be. And that's a lot of what I do, because I guess I deal with a lot of people who are dealing with bigger issues other than what their fitness level is. You know, like some people's goals are just to get off medication. And some people's goals are just to be able to sit down comfortably or to move comfortably, or, you know, like it really is about quality of life for some people. But a lot of them have a block where they know that something big's going to change, and it tends to be relationships. And you've just got to convince them that one, when they get to that point, they'll be strong enough to do it if they need to, but they're worth it. A lot of us just are happy in the place where we settle for something less, and you know, you've just got to. I spend a lot of time working with that. Basically.
And you're right. I think for a lot of us, and I know I'm certainly guilty of this, that sometimes it's easier to stay with the status quo than to really challenge something that's unknown.
Yeah, and it's really hard because particularly females, unfortunately, is that we're excellent friends in misery. Yeah. But there's nothing that we hate more than seeing someone who's, improving themselves.
Yeah.
It's terrible. We we just don't like it. Whether it's the old tall poppy syndrome or whether it's something, like it's an envy and it's a jealousy issue that a lot of us tend to have. But, being successful and driving for success is a very lonely place sometimes, and you've got to be ready to take that, and you've got to, same as physical success and physical fitness, is that you will lose people along the way as you become more assertive, and particularly friendships, and you will encounter that, but you've got to know that in your journey you will find other people who will go there with you. Yeah. And you will get a new group of friends that are positive and who embrace what you're doing. But you've just got to know that, and I think that's what it is for a lot of people, is that they don't want to become the person that they rolled their eyes at 5 minutes ago on their Facebook feed. Yeah. Yeah. And but they roll their eyes because secretly they do want to become that person. Yeah. So it's such a messy web that's intertwined, but you've got to get through that fear of it will be okay, and if you really want it, then go for it. Yeah. And it's almost about preparing people for that change. Yeah. Because I think everything that you've said is really spot on. That I think a lot of the time we do feel threatened by our own power, and the recognition that not just one part of us changes. We're the sum of our parts, but there's a lot of parts, and they all change. Yeah, exactly. And it's a daily effort. I still struggle with my potential power, because I'm a very powerful person. Yeah. I struggle with sometimes I struggle with the potential that it has, and because you've really got to embrace it and go, well, the world, you have to be fearless, and sometimes it's hard to be fearless every day, and we're human. Absolutely. And it's kind of interesting that with that sense of fearlessness there comes a real vulnerability. Oh, you really need to, and that's it's a big thing. You have to really be happy to be vulnerable, and to put yourself out there, and when you do what I do, you've got to sign off for that, and you've got to, but you have to work a way that you, how you deal with it too. In that sense, you've got to go, okay, well, I don't read comments. I don't read comments anymore, and I never engage in debates with people online or anything like that. And I just have a decision that I make where I decide what power I give to things. So that's really interesting. So tell me a bit more about that. Well, I make the decision to I look at the world, and how we interact with it. If you can imagine a big satellite dish. So a lot of us internalise things in a way that suits us, and we twist messages so that the internalisation suits us. So if we want to be offended by something, then we'll internalise it that way. So if someone says something to us where you think, oh, I think they just offended me, if I want to be offended by it, that's the way I'll internalise it. But if I just if I just take it in for what it is and just go, move on, then I move on. But I have this thing where I make a decision how much power I'll give a comment or how much power I'll give something. So I either allocate it no power or I let it fuel the fire. So that's the two options I give, and it's something that we discuss about quite often in our Body Positive Athletes group. Because like even running down to the beach the other day, I had someone yell out to me, "You better keep running, doll." And I was pushing my son in the pram and everything. I just can't believe people are that rude. I know. And I told Craig about it, and he said that's really crass, And I said, well, I'm not going to give that any power. No, it's I make the decision for that doesn't have any power in my world. People like that stopped having any impact in my world, mind whatsoever a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because they're not worth my energy. And it's a decision that you make. What is worth my energy? Who is worth my energy? And what do I give power to?
Yeah.
And I apply that to people as well, because some people, as you know, can be quite toxic in what they do. So I actually had a period where I filtered out a lot of people that I found toxic, and people and just kept them at a distance where I could control what power they have on me.
Yeah.
So
really wise words again. Okay, so I guess this sort of ties in a little bit. It's a bit of a cheeky one though, and one that I know a lot of us kind of vacillate between as well. The Biggest Loser, body shaming or motivational?
I used to watch it because of the transformations, basically, way back when I wasn't educated to know how reckless it is.
Yeah.
So I find profiting out of someone's personal journey, I find it quite exploitative, if that's a word. I think they're exploiting them.
Yeah.
And I think that you cannot make a game out of someone's health, and that's what it does too.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's shaming in that way, but I find more problem with the concept of people profiting out of someone's health.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what it is. And it sets up a poor expectation of trainers and fitness, and it sets up a poor expectation of weight loss, because that lifestyle's not sustainable. And it's reckless and it's unhealthy. So I am more offended of it by that way. I mean, I did watch an episode the other day and I just cringed my whole way through it, because I understand the psychology. Like I've been there. Like I've been a size 26. I've been every size imaginable. I haven't been anything smaller than a 14, but I've been there. Like I know what it's like, and I know that headspace so well that what is happening is only ever temporary, and it's really hard to watch someone try and struggle with that, because I know where they've been. I know it. I've lived it, and it's a headspace where do you thrive from that personally? Maybe for a while, but probably not for life.
Yeah. Look, I've got pretty strong views on it. I'm no friend of the show at all.
No.
For many of the reasons that you've covered. Yeah. It makes me feel very uncomfortable.
But it's back down to that whole theory of someone somewhere deciding that it was a really smart idea to shame people into changing themselves. And I was talking to a colleague about this the other day, and excuse the language, but a lot of, unfortunately, in a lot of things in society, it's like, how do we make people feel shit about themselves and make money out of it?
Yeah.
And that's
it's
essentially
profiteering, pure and simple.
And that's essentially what it is. It's somewhere putting a suggestion to the person that what they are at the moment is not enough, and that they should aspire to be something else, but you should pay us to help you achieve that.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's just more a symbol of the bigger way that the world is, but it's changing. So, and that's a great thing to see.
Yeah, I certainly hope that we see less of its presence. There's still that car crash kind of viewing of it in that sense, but no, I'm not a fan of it. And I think the other thing that it tends to bring up for me, another really big bugbear of mine, is concern trolling.
Oh yeah.
That's an absolute pet hate of mine. And I think that's the other type of issue that shows like that bring up. Exactly, because I did an interview with a journalist not long ago about the weight versus health thing, and it's really hard to get through to some people. That another person's health, it's none of our business. No.
And it's we have such a great value of our own opinion that we feel that we need to share them all the time. And social media is great for some things, but it's horrible for that.
Yeah.
It's and you know, if I could get any message through to anybody, it would be that 1 minute that you spend trying to generate a comment about a person, to a person, about themselves. Spend that minute doing something else.
Yeah.
You know, spend, you know, all that time that people spend online talking about stuff. Spend it learning something, doing something. Spend it in a way that's going to suit, you know, like be productive in society.
Yeah.
Because that's not productive, that's just wasting your own time.
Oh, absolutely. Again, coming back to the power of doing.
Yeah.
Go and do something.
It's like, go and do something.
Yeah.
You know, like it goes back to the person in the car that yelled out to me.
Yeah.
Like, well, how about you run to the beach?
Exactly.
You know, how about you make the decision to run to the beach yourself?
Yeah.
And if you still want to run next to me and make that comment, then we probably will keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take you around the block again, or we can go up the hill. It's about, you know, like let's stop it all, stop all the noise, and make that decision within ourselves to stop talking about other people and go and be productive. Go and learn something that's going to enrich us. Like, let's enrich our own lives. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Focus on what you're doing.
Your own.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of our Body Positive Athletes group, because it's this whole collection of people who are just doing awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And they've got no time to talk about anyone or argue anything. It's the most positive space I've ever been part of, because
they're too busy.
Well, they're too busy doing awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And embracing themselves and going and being fearless and having fun.
Yeah.
Than worrying about what other people are doing or what other people look like or what they're saying. It's like, and concern trolling and health trolling, and then there's also people who are starting to emerge from the woodwork who, well, is that really body positive, or is that really positive? But it's like, don't worry about it. You know, get out there.
If you're worried about it, stop reading, go and do something.
And it's like, it's okay to be passionate about things and to really talk about things, but when you find yourself getting caught up in a conversation thread online, get off it.
Yeah, good advice.
Go learn something and go do something.
Yeah, good advice. So what's your advice for women and for men who'd like to become more athletic, but they're worried that they either can't, that they're too overweight, not healthy enough, too time poor, you know, all these common things that we tell ourselves. What's your advice to them?
If deep down, like I was, that you really had a burning dream to do something, if you wanted to become a runner, or if you wanted to do a triathlon, or if there really is that dream in you, then just back yourself.
Yeah.
Everything that you want to achieve is just a good training plan away.
Yeah.
And a lot of coaches get it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of coaches will just train you.
Yeah.
And we have, like on our website, we've got a body positive trainer directory where people can look up and they can find a trainer in their area who won't discuss weight, who won't encourage fad diets, who won't, you know, who won't body shame. There are people around that will help you, but it's just more knowing that in time, if you give yourself time and if you give yourself a good plan and you do it sustainably, you can do it. You don't need to go out, if you want to become a runner, and you don't go out and run around the block on the first day. Just start walking, but do what's going to put a smile on your face. Do what's joyful. Do what makes you happy. You know, like it's hard because we get caught up in this suggestion that we also need to be awesome in whatever it is that we do. But do what you're happy to do for the rest of your life. And do what you do it in a way that you're going to be able to get up and do it again the next day. So it's not about, if you want to climb a mountain, it's not about going out tomorrow and climbing that mountain. It's about working out what you need to do in order to do that. And it's
taking enjoyment in that.
And go for it, you know, like make it simple. Go for a walk and be mindful in what you're doing. Like, enjoy the power of doing and just simply doing. And you know, you don't have to worry about your run pace or put your Garmin on or upload it to social media or whatever. Just do it for the sake of personal enjoyment, and that it's something that you're happy to do for the rest of your life. You know, I started out by walking every day.
Yeah.
And I did it in a way that I walked every day until I got sick of walking, so I decided to run.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are times that it'll hurt and there are times that it's hard, but you're worth every minute of it, because if this is what your dream is and if you feel passionate enough about it, then just go for it, because the ability's there. You just have to give yourself time.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely. And look, the first time I heard you talk, you told this fantastic story about a dog. And I'm going to get you to tell that story again, because it has stuck with me, and I just think it encapsulates everything you've said today.
It does. I met Lauren at a speaking opportunity I had, and I had this speech prepared, and I was working with two other fabulous people, and I was going to tell my story and explain my journey, but on the way there I saw this dog walking with its owner, and it was the first really warm day, and I think it was going to be like 27 degrees or something like that, and you know, like you could just hear the collective groan of people thinking, oh god, I'm going to have to wear shorts today, I'm going to have to wear a skirt to work, and my legs aren't ready for sunshine, and I'm not ready to wear a bikini, and here I go again, another year that I haven't trained enough to be in a swimsuit or where I wanted to be weight-wise. Anyway, so I passed this dog, and this dog was having the best time. It was spinning, it was jumping, it was kicking its legs out, and it was just like, this is awesome. And you could tell its owner was thinking, right, you know, this will die off in about 3 blocks' time, hopefully, and I'll keep walking it till it's exhausted. But, you know, it made me think, before that dog left its house, it didn't stop and look at itself in the mirror to worry about whether its tights were too tight or what was going to happen if its bum wobbled or the flabby bits under its arm, whether they can wear a singlet or not. You know, dogs don't care about that.
No.
And it was having the best time. And it made me think, you know, like, because I love going to the dog beach at Redhead as well, because I love seeing dogs run around. They have the best time. And I thought, you know, like when a dog runs onto the beach, it's not worried about its backside. It's not worried about whether it's tanned enough or toned enough or thin enough or tall enough. It's
not worried about much.
No, it's just worried about getting into the water.
Yeah.
You know, like I watched a dog yesterday afternoon, and it was chasing seagulls. And that dog kept me entertained for like 15 minutes. Yeah. Because it just ran after the seagulls. Yeah. And then it'd jump in the water. And its tail was wagging the whole time. You know, like we need to think less and be that dog more. Yeah. And
just get amongst it.
Yeah, and that's what life is about. And essentially, you know, I've recently written my new piece for Travel, Play, Live magazine, and it's where I have a discussion where I realise that in all of my concern over the years about how I'd look doing something, I was living half a life. Yeah. You know, in all those years where I was sitting on the bench of some sport and I really wanted to try my hardest, but I was worried because when you're big, you know, your tummy jiggles, your bottom you jiggle, like everything jiggles. Yeah. And even as a kid, like I'd sit on the sidelines worrying about what I was going to look like doing something, so I only ever gave half an effort to things. Yeah. And you know, like that's half a life. Yeah. You know, so secretly I spent so many years yearning to work hard, but didn't, because I was worried about being judged for what I looked like doing it. And it's so important for us to let go of that and just do, because like this is our one shot. Yeah, this is all we've got. So I, you know, what do I want to do when I get to old age? Do I want to sit back and think about all the times that I missed out on because I was worried about what my tummy looked like while I was running? Or do I want to get to older life, and do I want to sit back and think about that time I ran the race where I swore at the man at the drink station because of the hill that I didn't see? Or the time that I was in hysterics because I asked a guy if I could borrow his dog to tow me home from a run? Or, you know, like all those times where I actually secretly fantasised about knocking the kid off a skateboard so I could skate home because I was too tired. You know, like, or that amazing event that you did with your daughter, or the feeling of doing your first whatever. Yeah. You know, like that's what I want to relish in old age. Yeah. And in order for me to do that, I have to stop worrying about what people think about me, you know, what I look like doing it. Because honestly, if someone's standing still long enough to watch my backside jiggle while I'm running, then they're standing still too long. And that's time spent that they could be doing something better themselves.
Yeah.
So again, it's the power that you give to that person.
Yeah, absolutely. So just get out there, be the dog.
Be the dog.
And high five the haters.
Yeah, high five them on the way past because they're the ones standing still.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I can say one thing, is that if you go to your first running event or if you go to a triathlon at a local club, you will have nothing but encouragement.
Yeah.
Because everyone remembers their first race.
Yeah.
And and the elite ones, they're too worried about what their times are to even know that you're there. Trust me, they haven't even seen you.
Yeah.
They're not worried about it. But everyone remembers, everyone knows what it takes to show up.
Yeah.
And everyone respects that. You'll get high-fived on your way in, and when you think you can't run any further, someone will run past you and say, "You are amazing, keep going."
Yeah.
That's what those communities are like. They will get you home. If you don't think you can get back to that finish line, they will get you there.
Yeah.
And someone will walk with you, or someone will, that's the sort of communities that they are. And we need to lose that stigma that we're not good enough to be there, because if you've done that, training doesn't discriminate to a size.
No.
If you've done that, if you've put in the training, you've put in the same amount of training as everyone else on that start line, and you deserve to be there, no matter what you look like.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that. It's just what you put upon yourself.
Yeah. And what you give power to.
Yeah, and it's what you give power to, because it's generally if there's any negative comments, then it might be from people on the sideline. But hey, they're on the sideline.
Yeah. That's it, they're not even part of it.
That's exactly right. And that's what you've got to look at, is that you've got to reduce things down to their most basic form.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, what's the source of the comment and where's it coming from? And usually it's because they secretly wish that they were out there themselves.
Yeah.
So, don't give it any power. If you want to give it power, let it fuel the fire.
Yeah.
If that's what mentally works well for you, is pushing hard and thinking of all the people that doubted you, then use them for that.
Fire.
Yeah, use them for that as well. Whatever way is going to serve you, you use it.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, thank you so much for your time.
No, it's been my pleasure.
I'm going to have links at the bottom of the article for all of your stuff.
Okay.
And look, I've got no doubt that there's loads and loads of women now who are going to embrace everything you're saying, and we're going to be the dog.
Be the dog. Be that dog.
Thank you so much, Leah Gilbert.
No worries, thank you.
Hi everyone, it's Lauren Maxwell here from Headstrong Women. I'm sitting in the beautiful Tallulah Bar at the Junction, Newcastle, with the fantastic Leah Gilbert.
Hello.
Hi Leah, how are you going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. Okay, so I'm having a coffee with Leah and I'm going to be asking her some really tricky questions today. So you're an internationally recognised thought leader in body positivity and athleticism. Can you share a little bit about your journey and how you've incorporated your passion into a really successful career?
It's been I've stumbled into a lot of it. Sorry, it's not a plan, everybody, but it should be. I stumbled into it basically by just doing what I was doing as an athlete. I initially had, and I still do, I have a very strong belief that